Hello everybody, this is Ethan Crane. It is January 13th. I'm here in Gainesville, Texas at a picnic area on the side of the highway, and this is the Nephew of Sam podcast. Welcome. Just kind of wanted to start outside in my truck right now because it's kind of a nice day. It's pretty beautiful here. I think it's like upper 60s, so it's pretty nice. Sorry everyone up north. Yeah, so this is where I'm going to stop for now. I like these kind of rest areas. There's a beautiful Texas skyline in the background there. But I like areas like this because I can get away from everyone, kind of be closer to nature. And even though I got a loud highway next to me, it's kind of like kind of get what you can get out here. Because most of the time it's just concrete and rest areas and truck stops and surrounded by other trucks. Bad thing about this place is no bathroom. So, but we'll survive. I don't have running water, but I got some water in the back that I carry with me. And there's some light. And so it won't be too bad. Hopefully, I don't have any surprises. Anyways, so I'm trying to do this whole thing, and it's kind of tricky. I've been trying to get a podcast out last week, or a vodcast or video blog, whatever you call this. I haven't figured out how to make it into an audio file yet, so eventually it's not truly a podcast yet, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I'll still keep the video too, so I'll do both, but I just gotta convert the video into an audio file so I can do both. So whatever you prefer to watch, that's what we'll have here coming soon, since I figured it all out. Right now I'm just trying to figure out how to do this, a format. I tried to record this a few times last week, and I had to delete it and stop and start over. And I'm happy I made it this far today, because this is probably my 5th try at doing this. So I just want to thank everyone that watched the first one. I was really surprised. Got over 160 people views on the YouTube channel. So that's really cool. And if you guys want to, you can always go on the YouTube channel and make comments and ask questions you want. And if you have something to say, maybe I'll put it. May I'll put it on the next podcast. And yeah, something that I might have got wrong, or you might want to challenge me on. And if I think it's a good point, maybe I'll bring it up next time. And also everyone, thank you that people that gave me encouragement for the last one. I really appreciate that. People that encouraged me to do this. This is really kind of nerve-wracking. I get kind of scared, like I'm doing fine all day. I'm going to do this. And then I finally get closer and closer to my stop. I start getting nervous. And I felt like just going back and laying down and going to sleep, because I didn't want to do this, because this is something kind of scary. And it's hard to do, and it's kind of out of my comfort zone. And I want to read a quote from Cecil Beaton. Cecil Beaton, he is a famous photographer. He did a lot of portraits of famous people, like I can't think of her name right now. We got Marilyn Monroe, that's one. Mick Jagger, Pablo Picasso, and Elizabeth Taylor, which I was trying to think of earlier. And actually, he was one of the most famous ones that we all see at different coffee shops and people's posters on people's walls. The one with Audrey Hepburn, where she's smoking the big giant long cigarette, and it's black and white. I think it's black and white. It might not be, but it's a great photographer. I like his stuff. I'm a big fan of photography. So one thing he said, and it's kind of encouraging for anyone that's doing something that's kind of outside the box, kind of outside their norm, outside their comfort zone. He says, be daring, be different, be impractical, be anything that will assert integrity of purpose and imaginative vision against the play-it-safers, the creatures of the commonplace, the slaves of the ordinary. So the last one, I kind of talked about why I'm doing this, and I kind of want to make this thing broader, kind of want to talk more about current events and what's going on in the world. And today I'm not going to do that yet. I'm still going to kind of just talk about my experience and what's going on in my life, some personal events, because it's kind of more comfortable for me. It's kind of hard. It's really hard. I tried to kind of make a current event podcast, and it didn't turn out so well. And right now I'm just trying to get my system down, and so hopefully my next one we'll talk more about different things that are going on in the world or in our country, whether it be Iran or Donald Trump or Vince Vaughn or anything. I don't know. It's all crazy out there. But so one of the things I want to talk about from the last one, I kind of just brushed over. So there's a few things I left out of the last one I kind of wanted to bring up, but I kind of just let it go as is. But there's one thing I kind of brushed over really quick, and I kind of wanted to go back and address that more. I mentioned in the last one that I couldn't get into St. Louis Police Academy because I had a DUI in my past. And I kind of just brushed over that, and I kind of, I think I should go more in depth in that. I think that's what I'm going to talk about today. I want to talk about that experience. Pretty much what was going on in my life at that time. I spent most of my life never drinking alcohol. And I got out of the ministry, and I was kind of in limbo. And I was dealing with a few personal things in life, and it caused a lot of depression and sadness. I really just didn't like myself at the time. I had a lot of the voices inside my head, not like I'm hearing people talk to me or anything, but the conscience, our thoughts, were pretty negative of myself. I said some pretty horrible things about myself, which is fine. I forgive myself. But I was going through a hard time, and I just wanted to stop all the feelings and emotions in my life that were causing me a lot of pain. I know I was really concerned about all the bad things in the world that wanted to make a difference. I didn't know what to do in life. I felt like I wasn't really making a difference or an impact. And I started drinking alcohol to kind of just slow my head down and to numb that feeling. And I started drinking a lot. And I would go to the bar every night. I was pretty much delivering pizza at the time, and I would just work all day, make money, go to the bar, spend all my money on alcohol, drinking, then go home again. And a lot of the times I was making sure I had a ride, or I walked, or whatever I could do to not drive. But then I just started driving, and I started making bad decisions. If I would have got pulled over, the night I got pulled over, I got pulled over that night, and the cop asked me, he goes, why I pulled you over? And I was going the wrong way down a one-way street. It's kind of like one of those streets that kind of turns into a one-way street, and I realized it as soon as I did it. And I was like, well, I'll just finish driving down the end of the street because it's late at night, I'll be all right. And the cop pulled me over. I said, well, yeah, because I was going wrong way down a one-way street. And he's like, where are you coming from? And I said, 12th Street Saloon. He said, okay, well, you've been drinking? And I'm like, yes, sir. And he goes, how much you had? I said, about 8. I don't really know how much I had that night. Maybe it was 8, maybe it was less, maybe it was more. I'm not sure. So he said, all right, get out of the car. And I got out of the car and went through the whole roadside ordeal where you do all the testing, and then after we did all the nose stuff and following the light with my eyes and all that stuff and saying my ABCs backwards, he gave me a breathalyzer. And on the breathalyzer, I blew a .12. And for me, that wasn't really too high for me. It seems like I found out that I had a really high tolerance for alcohol. But to be fair, if you got me another night, it would have been a lot worse. So I ended up getting arrested. Stayed in the jail for a few hours, paid my bail, got out, and walked home from jail from the Grant City Police Department jail. And the cop that pulled me over, he was real respectful. He was real nice. He was very polite. And I even saw him later on at the bowling alley bowling with some of his friends. And I went up to him, I approached him. I said, "Hey, you're Officer so-and-so." I can't remember his name. But I said, you pulled me over and I got a DUI. And like, he kind of got a little nervous when I said that. I said, "I just want to thank you because what you did really helped me out. It really set me straight. And I decided to turn my life around and really start going in a more positive direction. And I'm not drinking and driving anymore. I won't do that ever again." And I just want to say that the system worked. And one thing that I saw there was the system worked. I didn't really like law enforcement. I didn't like cops at that time. But what happened to me there was, I couldn't blame the cop. I had to take responsibility for my actions. There was no one to blame but myself. And I saw the system work. I saw the cop not being a jerk. I saw that I was punished, had to pay a fine. I got put in the newspaper, which is really the most horrible part of it. They put me in the newspaper, so there was no hiding from it. And that was just embarrassing. But I saw that it turned things around, that I was able to correct myself. I got in trouble, and I corrected myself. And I think some of the hardest things about it was a lot of people, when they saw that in the paper, it was really embarrassing for me because I was this guy that was looked at in the community as this really great Christian that didn't really do anything wrong, a man of character and integrity. And I threw it all away that night, those nights, every night that I drank and drank and drive. And it wasn't that night, I didn't lose my integrity the night I got caught. I lost my integrity the night that I started doing that. C.S. Lewis said, let's see, where's that one at? C.S. Lewis said, "Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching." And I think a few other people have said something similar to that, but I went with C.S. Lewis. And that's the truth is, if you can't be a person of character, a person that does right when no one's watching, you're not a person of integrity. You're just putting on a show. And that's what I was doing. I was putting on a show. I was acting like I was someone I wasn't, and it was fake, and it was phony. And when we're wise, we know what the right thing to do is. When we're wise, we know the right thing to do, what the right thing to do is. And integrity is doing it. It's about doing what is right, not what is easy. And it was easy for me to get in my car and drive when I've been drinking. But it wasn't the right thing to do, and I knew it was wrong. I'm lucky that the only thing that happened was I got in trouble, I paid a fine, I got put in the newspaper, and I got embarrassed. I'm lucky it wasn't worse than that. It could have been a lot worse. I could have hurt myself, hurt other people, killed myself, killed other people. A lot of bad things could have happened. I could have took out a whole family that night, or any of the nights. So to be so entitled that I could do something like that I'd put other people at risk, showed that I wasn't who I thought I was. I wasn't who I pretended to be. And one thing that I learned about it is that a lot of times when we're people of integrity is not about being perfect. It's not about always doing what's right. That's kind of the idea. That's the goal. But we all fail. We all have bad days. We all have times we lose our temper. We all have times we get lazy. We all go through seasons in our life when we make bad decisions. And yeah, our integrity's lost and our integrity's damaged. Our character, who we are, our reputation. But the thing about integrity is, when it's really tested, is when we catch ourselves when we do something wrong. And what are we going to do then? Are we going to hide from it? Are we going to run from it? Are we going to push off responsibility and blame to other people? Could I have blamed the cop and said, yeah, he was a jerk, I wasn't really that drunk, I didn't really drink that much, and covered it all up and said all sorts of excuses? I could have. But that wasn't going to get me any closer to being the man I wanted to be. And I knew I didn't want to be that person that was making these bad decisions. And so one of the things I did was I went and talked to my really good friend, what we talked about in the previous podcast, Dave Haynes. I told him about it, and I said I need to get to Springfield, but my license is temporarily suspended. I need to get to Springfield, and I need to give them this letter so I wouldn't lose my license. I keep my license so I can still do my job. And Dave offered to bring me up to Springfield, and he drove me all the way up there that day, Springfield, Illinois. And we had a good talk, and we talked about, how he thought that I'd make a good cop, and that's really when I started thinking about being a cop, is through this whole experience. But I thought, well, how can I be a cop? I just got a DUI, and Dave explained to me, you're getting it off your record. Not all departments hold that against you. And he says, you just made a mistake, and, this doesn't define you. And he was very encouraging. And one of the things I did too right away is I went and talked to my church. I talked to my associate pastor of the church. I was going to First Baptist Maryville, in Maryville, Illinois at the time. My really good friend Adam Cruz was associate pastor there. We grew up together. He's had a big impact in my life. I'm so thankful for him in my life, and he's really just a really great friend. And I talked to him, and I can tell, he was probably disappointed, and we talked about what my actions are going to be, but he also was very encouraging, and he didn't judge me, and he made me feel, he showed me grace and love. And he said, well, we need to talk to Fred Winters. He was head pastor there at the time, and so I talked to him, and Fred talked to me about, I think it'd be best that you went in front of the church and asked for the church to forgive you, because I was volunteering in the church, helping out with the youth and stuff like that, and I thought yeah, that's the right thing to do. So it was a pretty big church, so I was really nervous about that, and I didn't want to do it, but I also knew that I had to do it. So let's just get it over with. So I went up there and I told everyone everything I went through and what I did and how I was wrong and I was sorry. And at the end of it all, people came up to me and they hugged me. They said, we all make mistakes. I made the same mistake. Some people even gave me some money to help me pay for the fine. And I really didn't expect that. I thought, I was wrong, and I deserved to be yelled at and corrected, but they saw that I didn't need that. That I needed to be shown grace and love because I was really hurting. And so, through all that, I went to a lot of people, apologized. I let a lot of people down. I let myself down. I let my God down. I let my friends down. I let my family down. And everyone was there for me, though. Every one of them. They were very encouraging. They were there to help me through the time. They were there to help me through dealing with some of the stuff I was dealing with on a personal level. A lot of the sadness and depression I was dealing with. And I don't really want to go too far into that today. Maybe some other day. But I had great friends and great family in my life. And a great church. And they were there for me. And one of the things we learned, what really happened there was, I was going through all these hard times. I wanted to silence my emotions and silence my depression and silence all these feelings of hurt and despise for myself. And I did it with alcohol. I was quieting down the voices that were in my head. And as I was quieting those voices, I was also quieting and silencing my purpose in life. I lost that. I didn't have it anymore. It was gone. And I don't have anything against drinking alcohol, but when you're using it to help yourself as a crutch, to get yourself through tough problems, make yourself feel better, you might be getting rid of some of that stuff for a moment, but that stuff's still there whenever you wake up the next morning. And you're not only just silencing those things, you're silencing who you are, your purpose, what you're meant for, what you're meant to do. All the good things you could be doing in life, all the people you could be helping, the direction, the goals, the dreams, everything. You're silencing all that along with it. And let's see here. We got a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. Knowing what is right doesn't mean much unless you do what's right. In this country, in this world, everywhere we see people talking about what the right thing to do is. Everyone's criticizing everyone. Everyone's putting each other down. And we all know what the right thing to do is, but we never take the time to do what's right. We never take the time to, instead of just protesting about what's wrong, about being the solution to what is wrong, about our protest should be action. Our protest should be doing what is right. Our protest should be forgiving each other. Our protest should be helping people that are in need. Our protest should be standing up for people that are being mistreated, that are being abused, that have injustices in the world. That should be our protest. It shouldn't just be complaining. And there's nothing wrong with protesting, but when that's all we're doing is protesting and complaining about what the other side is doing wrong, and we're not offering a solution, that's the problem. That's the bigger problem. And the first thing we got to do is we got to look at ourselves and see, what can I do different? How can I be different? What can I bring to the table? What can I bring to this world? What is it that I'm going to do that when I leave here, the world's a better place? And I guess and really what happened after that, I got into going the direction of going to try and be a cop because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help people. I wanted to serve people. I wanted to fight against injustice. I wanted to do good things. I knew a lot of times I had a hard time sleeping at night because I thought about all the horrible things that were going on in the world. All the horrible things that are happening to people right in my own community. And I wish there was something I could do to help people, whether it be just they're stranded on the side of the road because they have a flat tire, or they're being abused, or they're suffering from addiction, or whatever it is. And I thought being a cop would be a great way to do that and get paid while I'm at it. But that didn't work out, and I don't think it's going to, because what we talked about in the last podcast, my legs still aren't like they used to be. Still have some problems. But the good news is I might have quit at trying to be a cop. I've given up on that dream, but I haven't given up on dreaming, on having a goal and having a purpose and working towards that. I'm not sure where I'm going or what's going to happen, but I know that I got this job as a truck driver, and I'm able to have more time and just educate myself, have more time on my thoughts, have more time listening to podcasts and sermons and other positive things. And I'm moving towards a direction. I don't know exactly where I'm going yet, but I know that I have my family who I love and who support me. My wife and kids, they're amazing, and that's a great purpose right there. I just want to be a better father and a better husband, because they deserve that. They are three amazing people, And even my family, my parents and my sisters and my friends and my church, I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better brother. I want to be a better son. I want to be a better Christian. I want to be a better just person in my community. It's making my community a better place. So we'll see where that goes. And I'm going to leave us with a quote from a chaplain from the U.S. Senate named Peter Marshall. And he said that he was saying a prayer, and I think this should be our prayer. I think it's a good prayer that really fits what's going on in our country today. And it says, Our Father, we yearn for better understanding of spiritual things, that we may know surely what thy will is for us and our nation. Give us clear vision, that we may know where to stand and what to stand for. Because unless we stand for something, we shall fall for anything. And I'm going to end it there. So thank you for watching. I hope this reached someone out there, encouraged somebody, and maybe someone else is thinking about doing a podcast or stepping out and doing something else. Maybe this encourage you to do that. But our past doesn't define us, and where we're going, our future, is what defines us. It's not about how we start the race or how we stumbled through the race. It's about finishing strong and how we finish the race. So the race isn't over. This is the Nephew Sam podcast. God is good. Keep your eyes on the prize and fight the good fight. Thank you.